The Hoosier Racing League welcomes you to round number 3 of the 12-week season. Tonight, we are at the Dover Motor Speedway here at the Monster Mile, the first ever capital of the first state of Delaware, as we welcome you to Xfinity Series action for 200 laps. Good evening, friends. Marty Sakala with you. We welcome you to the Monster Mile as we are set to go racing, wasting no time with things. Let's give you the starting lineup. You watch qualifying in person. It's Drew Jua that makes up the front row with a time of 23.427, and next to him is Patrick Hernandez. That's row number 1. Row 2, Derek Heitman in the 76 and Riley Lambert in the 50. Row number 3, Jordan Stenzel in the 83, Brandon Fries in the 21. Row 4, Mark Jackson in the 1 and Jeff Crosby Jr. in the 33. Rounding out the top 10, Casey Duncan driving the 18, and Jason Branch making his debut in the 28. Row number 6, Matt Pelletier in the 27, and Anthony Monroe in the 82. Row 7, it's Casey Duncan. Row 7 is Jeff Crosby Sr. in the 15, and Shane Davis in the 30. Row 8, Ryan Douglas driving the 9, and Chris Davis in car 29. Row number 9, Jamie Abreu in the number 20, and Joe Letourneau in the 22. And rounding out the field tonight is Justin Phipps. 19 cars ready to take the green flag here. This is the biggest field we have had at the Dover Motor Speedway this season. And you can see it is very foggy here. Overcast skies, 99% chance of humidity. 79 degrees is the air temp, 76. The track temp set just before 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Give you real quick the rundown once again on your screen. 200 laps, 200 miles around the 1 mile oval. 24 degrees of banking in the corners. 6 tire sets for the drivers, and the fuel limit is at 65%. So we should be seeing drivers coming probably at around the lap 40 to 50 mark, I would assume. And would make this a 4 to 5 stop race. Well, Drew Jua and Riley Lambert are ready to get things going. Where else would you rather be than right here, right now? It's the first race for the Xfinity Series this season, and they are about to throw down at the Dover Motor Speedway. A Chevy and Toyota on the front row, and it's showtime at Dover. And it's Drew Jua that gets away with the early start in his debut, followed by the Daytona winner in second, with the Atlanta winner running in third. Drivers stay in single file for right now at the moment. A challenge to the inside for Jeff Crosby Jr. as he goes at it for P4 on the track. Jeff Crosby Jr., one of the Crosbys that were in this race. Junior coming oh so close to the win last week. Fell back late in the going, and Derek Heitman was able to have so much better ground on his tires. Drew Jua off to a good start early, leading by just about a quarter of a second on Riley Lambert. Try and show you some other good action throughout the track. Let's go back here. Jason Branch making his debut, trying to close in on last week's pole sitter in the 83 of Jason Stenzel. Had a good race last week if you missed us at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. As you see Stenzel try to get a run on Fries. Sends it in a little bit too deep, nearly gets into him. You missed us last week. It was Derek Heitman in the 76 driving the Austin Hill number 16, a Hattori scheme. If you missed us last week, Heitman taking home the win, and once again another photo finish over Jeff Crosby Jr., the car behind him, by a tenth of a second. Heitman had only led 6 laps in that race. So 2 different winners to begin the year. Point standings look like this coming on in. It's Jeff Crosby Jr. that holds the points lead early, as he's currently up 23 on Pat Hernandez, who is second in points. Hernandez riding in the back, decide to go just about a lap down early on here, fall back a couple of seconds early. He's 23 points back. Drew Jua, 25 back. In third spot, Jordan Stenzel is 26 back in fourth spot. And then Mark Jackson is 33 back in fifth. Abreu was the biggest mover in points as he went from 12th to 7th in the standings. Joe Letourneau did not make the race last week. He is down to 18th in series standings. A big hello to all of you watching in chat. Let us know who you're rooting for. We'll be sure to give a shout out to you. Jeff Crosby Jr., meanwhile, off to a great start. Started in the 8th position, and he's made his way up 4 spots. Take a ride on board here with Crosby Jr. from behind, as he's got Brandon Fries here. Got to be very careful here at Dover Motor Speedway. This is a track that's fully banked, and at the same time, on the concrete here, it can really eat up your tires, so you have to be extremely conservative here in this race. Crosby Jr. taking no prisoners, but could he be perhaps using up his tires early? That'll be a good question that we'll find out throughout the race. Shane Davis, where we're getting reports that he is blinking in the number 30. And as a result, Davis has taken it to pit road. I would assume this is a penalty. Drew Jua, meanwhile, in his debut, off to a great start, up 4/10 on Riley Lambert to begin this afternoon's affair. Let's go to a good battle on track and a battle for 7th between Jason Branch and Casey Duncan. Very tough to see from the aerial shot here again with the fog. 99% humidity will really lead to the extreme fog and nearly bring down showers. Still waiting for I-rain to show up here in the future. Shane Davis, by the way, has taken his car to the garage and has parked it. As you can see, pretty much only one groove around Dover at the moment. Drivers are running the low side, and we'll see a lot of rubber buildup there, and that's what will be pretty much the only groove we'll see here throughout the night. Will be very tough on the high side, but you can get advantage on the exit with the 24 degrees of banking here on this short track. Run to the inside for Jason Brands off of turn 2, trying to get by Stenzel for 6. You saw Stenzel get loose, and here we go for the side-by-side battle. Could be the 83 with the advantage off the corner. And he has it barely over Jason Branch on board with the 28. And Stenzel cuts down. Nice defense from the 83. You saw the 83 get really tight up there in the corner. Just allows the 28 of Branch to close on in. Jason Branch, one of a few drivers that are making their debut. And there you see Branch move up the track. Almost led to 3 wide from Casey Duncan. Davis, by the way, has restarted his internet connection. He's back on the track 5 laps down. Jason Branch, one of a few drivers in this field, making their debut with the series. Drew Jua, one of them as well. I believe only two drivers making their debut with the series today. Currently running 1st and 6th on the racetrack. Jua, meanwhile, opening up his race lead to 1.7 seconds. Fall off currently is just about 0.6 of a second for the leader for right now, 20 laps in. That's just about, I want to say, like halfway through before pit stops is what we're expecting. Third place on the line. This is Junior and Heitman. From Brandon Fries' perspective. That bump entering turn 3 at Dover will be very critical. Watch that closely throughout the day. That could really make the cars unstable and send them sideways perhaps. Here's the run inside for Fries to try and take 4th spot away from Heitman, and he's got it. Heitman perhaps being a little bit patient on his tires at the moment, 19 laps in. Jeff Crosby Jr., meanwhile, at the moment, the biggest mover in the field, 20 laps in, and he is up 5 spots after starting in 8th position. Then 2 other drivers starting in up 4 spots. Anthony Monroe from 12th to 8th. Joe Letourneau from 18th to 14th. Biggest loser on the track at the moment, that is on track, is currently Patrick Hernandez from 2nd down to 16th. Again, he pitted early in the going for those that decided to take the green flag from the start of things. We take a look here. With no issues, Jordan Stenzel down 4 spots, along with Mark Jackson. Joe Letourneau scraping the wall, was closing in on Jamie Abreu, which would have been the closest battle on track for 14th spot, and now we go to 3rd place. Brendan Fry is also a driver that's making his debut, so 3 drivers making their debut with the series. Here's a little bit more about Brandon, and we actually have nothing. Brandon, the owner, not Fries. Fries from Denver, Colorado, 43 years old, the co-owner of 4X Racing. Anthony Monroe off to a great start, even though he just scraped the wall. Allows Stenzel to take advantage, and he is up to 8th spot. Monroe, the owner of Broken Axle Motorsports. And falls back to 9th position. Matt Pelletier also starting to have some issues. I think a lot of drivers, I think the monster is really starting to strike on the exit of these corners to try and eat into a couple of Xfinity Series cars. Very surprising that we are just about 25 laps into this race, and we have yet to see a yellow flag. Riley Lambert is feeling big pressure coming from Jeff Crosby Jr., Brandon Fries, and Derek Hateman, but it's a mess happening for 3rd on back. But now the run for Junior. Gonna work down to the inside. Not yet. They've got lap traffic ahead of them while at it. That's the 50 of Davis. Appears to have fixed his internet problems. Back to 3rd. Fries overdrives into turn 3 just a little bit. The big key here at Dover is really all about holding your line here. This is an easy track to get back on the gas and have the car get back really tight. This is also an easy track once we get these tires to wear out. When you're on the exit of the corners, the rear end to get loose, and there you see Fries gets a little bit loose. That rear end just yawing just a bit in 3 and 4. Why don't we ride on board again with the 21? See how the car is stealing. It looks like he's got a handful at the moment. You see that? Look how much he's fighting it. A lot of throttle control here, getting back on the gas. That's what makes Dover so much fun. Gotta be very careful when it comes to doing that. Fastest lap of this race so far at the moment is a 23:75. That's the second fastest lap actually from Matt Pelletier. Oh, trouble. Joe Letourneau off the pace in turn 2. This could bring a yellow out. It will not. He brings it to the pit and goes for a tow. Not what the Raiders fan wanted. And let's go to a replay here for the first time tonight and show you what happened. He already had suffered some right front damage. And locked it up off of turn 2 when he was trying to park it. See if he suffered any damage like a couple of moments beforehand. He did. But there was more before that as well. I don't know if he had a tire going down or what, but these exits have really not been as good front. Here's one of the wall hits he took. And Letourneau, by the way, is out of his car, and what we know of is done for this race. You see Crosby once again have a handful as he just made the pass for second spot on Riley Lambert. Let's show you how he got that done. Nice pass there from Crosby, so now he tries to go close on in on the gap. Crosby Jr. with some great races this season. Third place at Daytona, second at Atlanta. You know, we thought he was going to be out of this race as a contender when he went, I think it was a lap down. But there was a period of cautions we had at Daytona, I believe about halfway through the race, where he was able to rebound and get back up to this lead pack. Zero Solutions, I appreciate your kind offer. However, though, this is considered spam. So Drew Jewett continues to lead. He has led all the laps in this race so far. Let's give a big hello to the viewers that are watching currently at the moment, and I see you all out there. 0x2, Alan Gathering, obviously Crosby Sr. watching, Cindy Kaw, thanks for tuning in. Dan King around, thanks for tuning in, along with Flat Ear the channel. F-Top Eric, Garrett Belcher, Hellraiser 88, and Taco Tuesday amongst some of the nobles. I didn't give a shout out to the drivers watching, because of course they're not watching. They just want to hear my commentary. They got to be focused more on the racetrack, though. Good battle on the line for ninth, and there was near contact between Mark Jackson and Monroe. They nearly touch once again at right turn 3. This is a wild scrimmage happening for 8th on track. Can Jackson get the clear? He puts Monroe into the wall, and Monroe with major damage.
Perfect.
Gonna see how this right side looks. You can definitely see some paint scuffs on it.
Two pitting in.
And you can hear him pitting in. And we'll have to short pit on this strategy and maybe perhaps even use a quick repair. That was some good damage. That was dealt to the number 82. Let's go to 5th spot between Freeze and Branch. Branch up 4 positions after starting in 10th. Let's right on board. See how much he had to wait before getting back on the throttle. If he got back on it earlier, then goodbye. And look at that. Freeze overdrives it. This is going to be a good battle. Anthony Monroe out of the pits. Goes 2 laps down, currently in 15th position. 10 cars currently on the lead lap. Pat Hernandez is the free pass car at the moment. Drew Jua, at the rate he is going, he has a situation where he could lap the entire field. Let's go to second spot. Riley Lambert has fallen off the pace. Derek Heitman just made a pass on Jeff Crosby Jr. And let's see how that got made. Junior scrapes the wall. Heitman takes advantage. Back to that battle for 5th. And Freeze is also closing in on Casey Duncan. Oh man, Freeze is loose down the back straightaway. Nearly got into the 18. Being patient on that inside. It's actually, pardon me, that is the 29. That's the 20 of Jamie Abreu, who just went a lap down. As we work on him. Jason Branch, by the way, nearly clipped the apron. That's one of the things you got to be really careful of. This is 24 degrees of banking here at Dover. If you don't want to run too low, because if you run all the way down to the bottom, like where Branch is, you could perhaps clip that apron, and it could lead the car gate unstable and doing a 360. Drew Jua, who has led all 46 laps of this event at the moment, has an 11-second lead against Heitman, over Heitman, and we're not even at pit stops yet. Here is how good, here's how quicker he is. Look at it. He's 3 to 5 tenths of a second faster compared to Derek Heitman. That's incredible. You'll check it, wait for it, wait for it. He's half a lap ahead. At this point, he could put him a lap down. There you see how it's been in the last 10 laps or so. Look at that. That's insane. How much of the delta he's been putting up. And it just continues to increase and increase for the driver of the 8. Riley Lambert, by the way, is in the pits, and we'll focus on his stop as he comes in. 4 tires and fuel for the driver, the number 50. Off the jack on the right. Takes it on the left side. Didn't look like he overshot his box. Waiting for that fuel to fill up. If not, he may have some optional. This is a slow stop. Over 25 seconds for the driver of the 50. I'm not sure if he had some optional or if there was a stop or a time penalty. That's extremely strange. Because we got cars getting ready to come in. Casey Duncan's getting set to go. A very slippery pit road here at Dover. And Duncan and Freeze are in. Pit road speed 40 miles an hour here. Lambert, by the way, is out of the pits, so a very slow stop, though, 39.40. And this will be a fun battle to watch on the way out. Show you as well where all your drivers are running as we are in the pit stop cycle. Jason Branch now in the number 28. Left sides for Casey Duncan. This will be a close and see who gets down the exit. Duncan, nice exit. Beats out Freeze for a position on track. Hernandez, by the way, also into pit road. Matt Pelletier also comes in. There's Jason Branch as he's on his stop. Now let's see where he cycles through. Oh, trouble for the 21. Brandon Freeze has spun it in turn 2. I think he came out a little bit too fast on the cold tires. But a driver that was looking to get a top 10 finish in his debut in big trouble early. He just looped it. Too much throttle. Oh, you know what happened? He over-revved it, I think, in first gear. No, the clutch. He had clutched it while the throttle was going in first gear. Oh my goodness. What a bizarre situation. It's like he missed his shift and around the car went. Insane. We got more trouble. Jamie Abreu has taken it to the pits, and yet no caution. What happened to the lap 20 machine coming on in? Again, pit road very slippery. He didn't get into the apron in turn 3, and oh, he locked it up, came in way too hot, and overshot it, and look at that. Up into the barrels as a sand trap party in Dover. Drew Jua, by the way, has cycled back through to the race lead. Anthony Monroe is in second. Remember, he pitted, though, on lap number 39. Casey Duncan cycles through in second. Third, Branch fourth. Hyman Pitt now. Keep in mind with Crosby Jr., he does have a couple laps of fresher tires, which could mean the difference here. Crosby Sr., Stenzel, and Abreu also in. Stenzel's lost a lot of positions from the start of this one. Meanwhile, Freeze is trying to rebound and closing in on Hernandez for 8th position. Freeze lost a ton of time, but he did not lose a lot of positions. Meanwhile, Drew Jua, the race leader, just set his best lap today at a 23:79. Back to 8th. And back to Jua. Quickest lap of the day, as expected, at a 23:65. A 12.5 second lead on Anthony Monroe. Back to 8th. See who's got the advantage in the last few laps. It's Freeze, of course, by about 0.2 of a second. But Freeze just hasn't been able to make it pass here. Looks entering the corner. Can he get it, though? Ironically, you've got a battle between a DeWalt car and a Menards car. Well, not really a Menards car, but it looks a lot similar to it. Oh, he lost it on the exit of 4. He clipped the apron. And unable to make the pass work. Mark Jackson now with the quickest lap of the day at a 23:61. Jeff Crosby Jr. also gained his best lap at a 23:87. So some drivers starting to get much better lap times than Drew Jewell. As you see, Freeze scrapes the wall. Drove it in really deep in turn 4, trying to pass Hernandez. But when it comes to these long runs, Drew Jewell has a complete advantage. Crosby Sr., by the way, is in the pits. And now we go to third spot between Casey Duncan and Jason Branch. 61 laps are complete. If you missed any of the broadcasts that we have had throughout the night, you can watch the replay on twitch.tv/Marty Sakala right when we are done. That's pretty much like if you have Sky Q, you can hit the red button. And this is actually starting to turn into, and it's starting into a wreck. Monroe has put it up in the wall as he got loose off of turn 2. And he's bringing it back down to pit road where he only had 24 laps. And that left side's got some paint scuffs on it. Let's show you what happened. Catches the wall right in front of Doug. Oh my goodness. Wait till you see Duncan's onboard here. We're going to rewind it and show you here how close this got. And we're going to show you on the bumper cam. Wow, my goodness. And Jason Branch and all of that uses it to his advantage up into second spot. Lap times are 23-second lap times here, 24s mostly at Dover. And the gap between Drew Jua and Jason Branch, 19 seconds. Only 6 drivers are on the lead lap. There's his next target right there, Mark Jackson in the 1. Now we go to 10th. This is Matt Pelletier and Ryan Douglas, one of the better battles we've got on track. As you see, Douglas is trying to close in. We're going to confirm something here real quick and just make sure here. Setup is identical to oh, these are open setups, I think. Which explains it. As you go to a battle here on track for 3rd. Crosby Jr. trying to reel in Heitman. Remember, he's got a couple of laps of fresher tires. So this is why Drew Jua is dominating. This is an open setup race today. We believe. Nope. Double checking. Okay, this is a fixed setup. Everybody is using a fixed setup. Let's confirm here one more time. But from the looks of it, something tells me, and somebody will have to confirm this for me, that this is a fixed setup series for the rules. But I just don't know how in the world Drew Jua has a 21-second lead. It could be because he drives Dover better than everyone, obviously. But we may have to have some post-race tech here in all of this. Good battle happening for 10th, meanwhile, at it. Back to the Pelletier-Douglas show as they are each 2 laps down. See Pelletier starting to pull away from Douglas on the long run. Back to Jason Branch and Derek Heitman. Branch currently the biggest mover of this race, up 8 spots from 10th to 2nd. Top 2 drivers, by the way, are both in their series debuts. While we're at it next week, we've got a fun one for you. We'll have the Truck Series for the first time in the Hoosier Racing League, but we're going to the iRacing Super Speedway. Over 200 miles an hour of fast action, without a restrictor plate, so don't miss out right here on twitch.tv/Marty Sakala. To 5th place. Jackson tried to close in. And he's right there on the bumper of Casey Duncan. And meanwhile, Drew Jewell is about to lap them both. Jackson's got the run. Duncan slams the door. Jackson nearly lost it. Entering turn 3. Can Jackson get the clear? Yes, not yet. But Jackson just beat him to the line, and there goes Drew Jewell. Cover lap down. They nearly make contact. Duncan knows that's the leader. Chris Davis, meanwhile, in the pits. So from the looks of this is a 2-stop race to the end when the drivers come into pit road, speaking of that. Back to second, Derek Heitman and Jason Branch. And the gaps are increasing. Casey Duncan is now in the pits. Early pit stop perhaps for the 18, or did he lose it? Nope, this is an early pit stop. So what Casey is doing here, he's trying to undercut it, which will mean that he'll have completely fresher tires than Drew Jewell by 27 laps. When being a lap down. So he'll try and get his lap back after Drew Jewell gets back on track, and he'll try and get a horsepower advantage on the exit of pit road that only lasts for about a lap or two. Derek Heitman, by the way, just getting by for second spot on Jason Branch. Let's show you how that got done. Makes a run simply down to the inside, and Branch just let him have it, I think. And now it leads to Branch and Crosby Jr. going at it for third. On board with the Harry Gant throwback of Crosby. Branch got back on the gas first, it looked like, compared to Crosby Jr. Look how tight Crosby Jr. is, trying the high side. Look, oh man, he just let Casey Duncan go by. Speeding pass, and Crosby Jr. is going to use it as a pick and roll advantage in the battle for third. Well thought of a pass from JCJ. And he's up to third. Let's watch again how he was able to get that pass stuck at it. It'll be tough to look at, that's for sure. We'll have to rewind it, though, for you. We're going to give you a better angle here. We're going to go from our chopper cam. He let Duncan go on fast tires. Branch is surprised. Junior gets the low side as the advantage. And so Crosby Jr. is up to third. 85 laps are complete here at Dover Downs as Drew Jewell continues to lead. Why don't we take a look at a full field rundown with only 4 cars on the lead lap. So Drew Jewell currently leads them. Derek Heitman second. Jeff Crosby Jr. is third. Jason Branch fourth. The only 4 drivers on the lead lap. There's Jewell, the white car in the background. Next car to catch, Jason Branch. First car lap down is Mark Jackson. He is in 5th. 6th is Patrick Hernandez. 7th is Brandon Freese. The only drivers a lap down. The drivers 2 laps down. Riley Lambert in 8th. Matt Pelletier is 9th. Ryan Douglas is 10th. Casey Duncan is 11th. Nobody 3 laps down. 4 laps down. Anthony Monroe in 12th. Jordan Stenzel in 13th. 6 laps down in 14th. Jeff Crosby Sr. Shane Davis is in 15th. 7 laps down in 16th is Jamie Abreu. 13 laps down in 17th is Chris Davis. Out of the race, Joe Letourneau. Justin Phipps, I believe, is our race control guy tonight. Couple of passes, by the way, while we were away. Actually, the last one, Casey Duncan on Jason Branch, on Ryan Douglas. Just makes that look easy. Here are the lap times that he is putting up compared to the driver in front of him. That's the driver behind. 2 seconds slower. And same with Pelletier. Look how much he's catching him. That's the rate right now from fresh to worn tires. And he's putting up the gap right now. Look how much he's closed it. Riley Lambert makes his pit stop. Second stop of the day. Once again, we've yet to see a caution in this race. A huge surprise by a lot of us, considering this is Dover Motor Speedway. The Monster's has been tamed a lot here today. He's been very patient, not wanting to strike at all. We could say perhaps on this foggy day, Miles the Monster is in hibernation. You see Jason Branch closing in on Drew Jewell. Let's ride on board with the number 8 and show you the lap times he's putting up. Shane Davis in the pits, by the way. There's Branch, and if you look closely, about 2 seconds in front of Branch, you'll see the black and white car right there, Jeff Crosby Jr. And another second ahead is Heitman. So a monstrous performance on this fixed setup. Again, Jua has led all of the lap, all except a couple. He's done every lap when we don't have pit stops. We'll just say that for right now. Here's a good battle on track. Riley Lambert actually just passed Jordan Stencel for 12th. And rewind you that easy pass made here because of those fresh tires. Update on Casey Duncan, by the way. He's been able to rebound up into 8th on the freshest tires of everybody else in this top 10. The second freshest, I should say. Riley Lambert, though, is nearly 2 laps behind. He's 7 seconds behind on the next car, which is Brandon Freeze. And you see the wear-off is getting into play. You know, Duncan was starting to be 2 seconds quicker. It's now turned down to 1 second quicker from Casey, so Duncan not wasting any time. Shane Davis back in the pits in the number 30 Chevy. Blasts his way past the 29 of Davis. You know, we haven't talked a lot about Mark Jackson, by the way, in the number 1. First off, I love that scheme. What is that? This is a Looney Tunes scheme, I think. Because you see the Tasmanian Devil on the side. I don't know. But anyway, we haven't given Mark Jackson a lot of credit this season. Jackson, as we try to find him in his 5th in points coming on in. 8th at Daytona. Was a part of the second pack at the end and was able to miss that wreck at the end on the final lap of that second pack at Atlanta to finish in 4th. He's having a very quiet day. Currently in 5th, up 2 positions. Pat Hernandez brings the number 19 on in, along with Jason Branch. Remember, 40 miles an hour right there at that yellow cone. Right on board here with Branch as he makes his stop. Nice stop, 14.4 while going full tank of fuel with the tires. Brandon Freese also in the 21. We're right on board with him for his stop. You don't see a lot of redlining. Exiting pit roads. Drivers are normally calm and then just wait to get on the gas right when the jack is dropped. 14.62 stop for Brandon Freese. Let's hope he doesn't over clutch it there. And it's very bumpy too on the exit of turn 2 on the apron. We haven't talked about that a lot either. Jason Branch, meanwhile, on the fresh tires. Goodbye to Matt Pelletier for 6th. So Jason Branch at the moment is on 47 laps of faster tires than Jua. Just recently went a lap down. Ryan Douglas has brought the number 9 to pit road. We just had a change for 2nd, by the way. That's because Heitman's on in. We'll watch the 16 stop. Oh, locked it up. That could be a speeding penalty for the 76. That was very tight. Let's go to the replay and check telemetry. Remember, it's the moment you cross the yellow line is right there. And he was clearly going 5 miles an hour over pit road. He came in way too hot. That will be a pit road penalty for the 76. I'll be damned if he doesn't get one. Leader's in, by the way. Now, is this where Drew Jewett takes an extra bathroom break to try and then decide to pummel his way through the field and get the lead? I'm just kidding. Just kidding. 14.9 on pit road. As he exits. And they'll remain the race leader while your 2nd place driver comes in. This could lead as well the entire field getting lapped. Off of it, waiting. Slow stop for Mark Jackson. May have suffered some damage earlier. A 19-second stop. Casey Duncan, after the cycle's through, he is up to 7th. 6.5 seconds behind Drew Jua. So the plan worked for KC as he's been able to nip the gap down, but now you see the downfall effect. Take a look. So that was what, so you see that big gap when Drew came in, but you're about to see it momentarily. And then this lap will also compare it with Jason Branch. He's got to go about 20 more laps or so on this stint. You see how that gap is starting to increase. He could be pitting when he's in either third or fourth, and he could be going lapped. Drew Jewell, by the way, is also in the pits again. Oh my goodness. What on earth happened? Hang on a second. This is developing. He's coming back into his stall. Is he like trying to challenge himself? Oh, he may have to serve a time penalty. We can tell you, by the way, Heitman not serving a penalty, but Jua with a long hold at the moment and has lost the lead. 40-second hold for 2 stops over. So there's the confirmation. Thank you, Drew. By the way, Drew, while you're at it, this is a fixed setup you've got, right? Oh, he's going back on track. Never mind. I'm forcing him to text while drive. So he went 2 stops over, which really opens things up. And so Casey Duncan now leads at Dover Motor Speedway. And I want to go back to the lap time comparison. Look how slower he is to Jason Branch. Branch will be in striking distance this lap. I can tell you, Heitman, by the way, did not get a penalty, by the way, for being too fast on entry, which I am damned about. So Jason Branch is closing in big time as Stenstow goes by, and I think he's on fresher tires, on board with the 28. Drew's in once again. What in the world did you do this time, Drew? Also, let's mark Jackson go by. Jackson on 7 laps of fresher tires. We could see the advantage coming at this time now to Crosby Jr. He's got Crosby Jr. or Heitman. They've got 6 and 5 laps of fresher tires respectively. And they're closing in pretty fast. Here's the challenge for the race lead. New leader, Jason Branch's debut goes to the point. You can see as well where the running position cost Drew Jua. All the way back now in 13th position. And is 5 laps down. It'll be a tough way to recover. Now here comes Heitman, who has closed in big time. Last lap was 0.4 of a second faster. This battle for the lead is on. Heitman with a run to the inside. The Atlanta winner looking to go back-to-back, and he's got it. Branch is tight in 3 and 4. Let's go back to third now as Crosby makes the pass for the bottom step of the podium. Now, if these guys keep on battling, watch Crosby closely. 1.5 seconds behind, and let's show you how he's doing. As Senior comes in the pit, he's half second faster than Branch. Last time by, he was a 0.2 faster. Could be in striking distance in the next 3 laps. There you see him in the background. On board with Junior. He's trying to close in at this point. So Derek Heitman leads with 123 laps complete. Turn up that volume knob. It's time to crank it up here at Dover.
I don't know what happened there.
I do, but it's all good, man. Go high, Jeff.
Gotcha, buddy. I got fresh tires. I won't push the issue.
Oh, I thought you come off that road.
Casey Duncan is back in the pits once again to try his jump strategy. But here is the situation on his end. He'll have to pit one more time with under 20 laps to go. Everybody else, when they pit, will be good to go to the end. I'm not sure if Casey realizes that. What he's going to have to hope for is getting back on the lead lap, and then with under 40 laps to go or so, a yellow flag to fly. Again, we have not gone one caution lap in this race tonight, by the way. This is impressive. We've got 70 laps to go, and we have not seen a yellow yet. To third place. Good battle here. Fourth place, rather. Pat Hernandez, who has been very quiet in this race so far today. Up to fifth, he scrapes the wall along with Mark Jackson. And Heitman puts them a lap down. Look back on this replay. This has been a fun battle to watch. Side by side, and that is off of turn 2. And here's what just happened a moment ago. They both try to put gas in it early and just both clipped the wall off of turn 4, and that nearly took out the leader, Derek Heitman. He had to get out. He had to let off the gas for that one. And they're still going at it for P4. Here comes Hernandez. Jackson gets on the gas first, though. Best battle on track for 4th position. Jackson up 3 spots for the start of this race in 4th. And remember Patrick Hernandez. He started this race from the pits, went a lap down, I believe. I mean, he is a lap down right now, and has come all the way back up to 5th position. This is incredible right now for what we're seeing from Hernandez. Even if he doesn't win, this is a great, great drive. And there you see the fresher tires of Casey Duncan. He gets slowed up and almost gets wrecked in this. He catches the wall and is not going to be happy.
It's already on your outside. See that, run you over.
I was going to let you go on the back straight, but my car got tight. That's what I told you, give me a chance, and I let you go.
There is right side damage, by the way, to Duncan. Not sure how severe it will be, but that will bring it up a couple of seconds of optional damage. Let's compare the time delta for your race through at the moment compared to Crosby Jr. You see it's gone down and up, down and up. Of course, that downward spiral had to do with the fact that, you know, he had to let off the gas when he was battling with Jackson and Hernandez. Pelletier, look at this. He's passing Drew Jua. Jua's up in the wall. Remember Pelletier, by the way, with 11 laps of fresher tires. Pardon me, actually. 15 laps if I'm doing my math right. Remember, Jua had 2 40-second holds on pit road. Duncan once again. He's still got a fast car, though, that's for sure, despite scraping the wall. Chris Davis back in pit road. So we've got 61 laps to go, coming to 60 this time at Dover. So a full field rundown here at the moment. Derek Heitman is your race leader by 3 seconds on Jeff Crosby Jr. 4.7 seconds behind Jr. is Jason Branch in 3rd. 21 seconds behind Branch, Mark Jackson, who is in 4th. Then 1.3 seconds behind him, that is Pat Hernandez. 7.6 seconds behind Hernandez is Brandon Freese. 9.9 seconds behind him is Casey Duncan. Riley Lambert developing story in the pits. 10.7 seconds back. Ryan Douglas about to make a pass here for 8th on the track. Then 9 seconds back on Ryan Douglas is Jordan Stenzel. 39 seconds behind Stenzel. Matt Pelletier is in 11th. 3 seconds behind Pelletier, Drew Jua in 12th. 50 seconds behind Jua, Jeff Crosby Sr. 39 seconds behind Sr. Jamie Abreu. 4.5 seconds behind Chris Davis as he's about to exit pit road. 5 minutes behind. Out of the race, I should say, pardon me. 3 drivers that are out of this race: Anthony Monroe, Shane Davis, and Joe Letourneau. If you have just joined us in this race, by the way, Riley Lambert with the longer stop could be a 40-second hold. If you have just joined us, by the way, Drew Jua, who has led the most laps in this race, will get credited by leading the most laps. Was dominating this race, and then on the second round of pit stops at around lap 108 or so, he went over 2 boxes when coming into pit road. And I don't think he just did it once. He did it twice. That put him all the way back into the 12th position. And so who is that giving the lead to? Derek Heitman. Update on Casey Duncan, by the way, on his master short plan. Trying to close into Brandon Freese for 5th position. He's 43 seconds behind on Derek Heitman. Now, when it comes to a time on pit road, it lasts 51 seconds. So when all the drivers come into pit, Casey Duncan, as long as he doesn't have any issues, will take the lead. However, though, it'll be with about 40 laps to go, and he does have to stop again. Everybody else is good to go to the finish. Duncan hoping for a yellow flag to come out so he can get back on the same strategy. And if everybody pits now, they will be good to go to the end. And here they all come in. Drew Jua is in the pits in 12th. Mark Jackson looks like he's coming in. Pat Hernandez just went by for 4th. I think he let the 19 car by. That was the closest battle on track. Jeff Crosby Sr., I think, letting a faster car go by. And Riley Lambert, who's got also fresh tires. Pat Hernandez, by the way, in the pits. Good speed, 40 miles an hour, on board with them. Jason Branch is also in the pits. He's just right behind. And he's not even looking at his speed. He was way under this pit road speed limit of, actually, I think it's 35 miles an hour here. Branch wants to get out. There he goes. 4 tires and fuel. He's away. Same with Pat Hernandez. Final stops of the race. Casey Duncan, by the way, has passed both of them for 5th. And it will get interesting to see what the cycle through is. Oh, we got a yellow, though. Oh, my goodness. The first yellow of the day comes out from the dominant one today. And Drew Jua. And this is going to change everything in terms of strategy. Because Jason Branch and Patrick Hernandez get trapped. They'll get a waiver. I would assume they get a waiver round. Your top 5 will yet to pit. And this is also the yellow Casey Duncan needed for his final stop of the race. But at the same time, it's a yellow that he did not want. Coming to think of it, because he was on a roll. Let's watch the replay here with Drew Jua and what brought out the first yellow of this race. Contact with Abro, sends him up in the wall and around. And after a hunt, after 3/4 of the race go through, get our first yellow of the evening. So Heitman and Crosby Jr. are in. This yellow definitely helps them for sure. They're good to go to the end of this race. Heitman with the advantage, but Crosby Jr. could beat him out. No, Heitman. And we got to give a round of applause to the drivers. The drivers went 152 laps without a caution to begin the evening. That is impressive. We're only an hour and 15 minutes into this race. But we will see what happens now. Lap down cars will be pitting this time. Of course, Jason Branch and Pat Hernandez will get a wave around. However, though, they are being scored currently, I would assume 2 laps down. Casey Duncan is going to stay out. That's a risky move. I understand Casey trying to battle for the win, but at the same time now, at the same time on his end, he is risking not pitting. So let's listen to some radio chatter while we're at it.
Hello.
83's got dropped to the rear.
All right, everyone, let's get all caught up here. Pay attention to your heads-up display. Do what it says here. Get nice and tight. It's been a pretty barn burner. Let's just put it that way. So let's keep it clean and respect each other, and let's finish this thing up.
You heard what Pelletier had to say. You got Heitman and Crosby Jr. on the front row. Mark Jackson with a wave around. Same with Casey Duncan and Brandon Freeze. You've got 4 on the lead lap as we come back to green with about just under 45 laps to go. Heitman, the control car, we're back to green. Got to be careful as well not to change lanes as he gets it going over Crosby. Top 2 in points. Let's see who gets the advantage off of turn number 2. And look at the gap they've put up on the drivers behind them. They're like a straightaway ahead. That's insane. Looks like not a lot of drivers had a lot of practice at Dover compared to the top 2, that's for sure. That battle for lead is on. Crosby Jr. nearly gets loose off the corner. Look how far they are back. That's half a straightaway. Tenths of a second separate them. Crosby Jr., by the way, faster by 800ths that last time by. He's right there for the race lead. Just had his best lap of the afternoon / evening. Trying a different line, higher to lower. He's got the run, he's got the power. Does he look to the inside off the corner? And he does not. Heitman still leads. 40 to go here at Dover. Crosby again faster. 500ths of a second that last time by. And again, he does the higher entry, lower exit, but doesn't gain a lot. I think he actually lost time that time. Lost a 10th at the line. Jordan Stenzel, by the way, put up his best lap today, along with Brandon Freeze, each at a 23.81. Pat Hernandez also had his best lap, 23.97. Mark Jackson, by the way, back in third, 4.3 seconds behind. After pitting. Then there's Casey Duncan, who's 9 seconds back. The tires are about to get up to pressure, and he's about to lose a lot of time. Back to the lead, though. The yellow flag flies now. Brandon Fries will get back on the lead lap, as he's the first car a lap down. Gap starting to increase for Heitman, now half a second. Faster by a 10th and a half last lap. Heitman putting on the pressure big time. Let's check and see what's going on behind them. That is Branch, who was in 6th. That was one of the drivers that got trapped a lap down, along with Pat Hernandez. We take a look on the map between Branch and Fries. That's a car separating them. That's Jackson stuck in the middle of it. And the thing with Branch, though, he's got 5 laps of worn tires, but a surprise, Branch gets a pass from Jackson. Branch, though, still 4 laps of worn tires. The thing with Fries, though, he is in a tough battle at the moment with other traffic ahead of him. That's Pelletier and Stenzel he is stuck with. So this is going to get interesting. Pelletier, by the way, is in 11th. Stenzel running 8th. Branch is like to Pelletier, dude, just let me go. I'm trying to battle this guy for a position, but Branch got the apron in turn 2, washed up the track, and will have to wait on it. Gap up to 9/10 of a second. Chris Davis in to pit road once again. So Heitman has increased the lead on Crosby Jr. by 1.3 seconds. And while we're at it, while we're watching all the action on the track, let's do it one more time tonight. We're going to crank it up.
Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't want to hold you up.
25 laps to go here at the Dover Motor Speedway. Again, tune in next Sunday at 8 p.m. as we'll have live coverage of the Hoosier Racing League. The Truck Series will take to the grid for the first time this season, and they'll do it at the iRacing Super Speedway. Yes, for those of you NR 2003 fans, the Coca-Cola Super Speedway turned into iRacing Super Speedway. No restrictor plates, 200 miles an hour for action. Don't want to miss it. We start at 8 p.m. on twitch.tv/Marty Sakala. Update on Casey Duncan, by the way. Remember, he last pitted on lap 128. And we should be expecting him with about 15 to 20 laps to go. He saved fuel under caution, luckily, but I don't know if he pushed the clutch and if he has that option to do that. I'm not too sure. But we appreciate all of you coming on in tonight. Especially if you have joined us for all the racing. We had a huge long run of 152 laps or so. It's been a good night of racing, a clean night of racing for sure. You know, we expected a whole lot more cautions than the one we have seen tonight. So it's really been a great night of racing here for the Hoosier Racing League. That should set up a lot more incredible racing for weeks to come. Again, expecting Casey Duncan shortly. Chris Davis is making the pass, who pitted on lap 150. Davis getting a little bit aggressive here. Derek Heitman, meanwhile, as the leaders are approaching him, has increased his lead up to 2 seconds. Casey Duncan is in dire need of a yellow right here, or else his race is over. Heitman closing in on the guy that has gone over 50 laps on his tires. And Duncan, I don't know if he's going to try and race him here or not, but he knows that 76 is there. And there's the pass, and that likely will end Casey Duncan's race. Now, he could get the free pass if a yellow flag flies, which would help him. It would get him back on the lead lap, but here's the issue. He would have to restart tail end per the rules. Now, the only thing he does not want to see is Mark Jackson go a lap down, who's 9.3 seconds back. Because if Mark Jackson goes a lap down, Casey Duncan, his race is pretty much over right now at the moment. So Duncan is in a must-need for a caution situation, and he'll have to pit very shortly. There is no way he can go 75 laps or 73 laps on a tank of fuel to the end, especially when you consider this is a race with a 65% fuel cap. And there it is. He's coming in this time. So the chance of a good finish for Casey Duncan comes to an end for a top 5 finish as Freeze makes the pass. Branch goes by. It'll be tough on Hernandez, but we are looking at a situation where Duncan will likely be in a battle for 8th. We'll watch his final pit stop of the race right here, and then it's a sprint to the finish for him. Duncan with fuel only instead of going all 4 tires, using 50% off on his pit stop time, and comes out in 7th. That's where he should cycle through. We'll see where Stenzel is on track. The 83 is just crossing. the start-finish line. So Duncan will try and go 13 more laps on his tires and see if he can hold on to the 7th position. Stenzel currently 12 seconds back. And we'll keep you posted on that battle for the rest of this race. But meanwhile, Derek Heitman out in front, 12 laps away from a victory. Crosby Jr. did come in close in that battle for the race lead with Heitman just after the restart, but it seems Heitman's got the better run, got the better car on the long run. Remember, we went back to green with just under 45 laps to go. This guy's having a good run, but Mark Jackson is having an incredible run once again. Be his best finish on the year as long as he can finish up there. 21 seconds ahead of the guy in 4th, which is Brandon Fries. But will be his best finish if he can hold on to it. Get 8th at Daytona, 4th in Atlanta, now finishing in 3rd. Our debut cars of Brandon Fries and Jason Branch. You know, they're not going to finish in the top 3, but this is going to prove to them, the drivers, that they are huge contenders this season as well for wins. Brandon Fries currently in the 4th position. Jason Branch, who also led laps in this race during cycle throughs, and actually when Drew Jua had his issue, in 5th. Mark Jackson goes by and puts him a lap down. Two big movers of the race at the moment. Jeff Crosby Jr., who started 8th up to 2nd. Great race for him so far tonight. Ryan Douglas as well. Quiet night for him too. Currently in 9th, but up 6 spots from 15th. And of course we know the heartbreak of the race goes to the driver that is out of this race. And will finish in 16th spot. That is Drew Jua, who led over 100 laps of this race, nearly put the entire field a lap down, and then had a speeding penalty. Five and a half laps to go for Derek Heitman. It will be back-to-back wins for Derek Heitman. And for the first time, we will see a win by a big gap, and a win by that features a driver leading at least 10 laps in this race. Remember, when we went back to Daytona to kick off the season, it was Riley Lambert scoring the opening win by 0.05 of a second, 0.06 of a second if you round it there, and only led 1 lap in that race. Going to Atlanta, Heitman beat Jeff Crosby Jr. by 1/10 of a second. Heitman only led 6 laps in that race. And it was Heitman that nearly got eliminated from this race when everybody came in except for him. Heitman went to the bottom of the lead lap on scuffed up tires, and somehow, thanks to some yellows, rebounded to win. Two to go. Again, it'll be the 2nd win for Heitman. And looking at the points coming on in, Crosby Jr. will remain the points leader. Heitman entered 10th in standings. Remember, this is his second start of the year. Many have 3, of course. But Derek Heitman will go back-to-back and close in once again on the points lead to Jeff Crosby Jr. Quarter mile away from home. And off a turn 4. Back-to-back wins for Derek Heitman. He takes it at Dover.
All right.
Nice win, Derek.
Nice win, Derek. Nice win, buddy. Nice race, guys. Nice race.
Good race, guys. One caution. Excellent job. Yeah, the timing of that caution screwed me.
Man, it threw me too. Like, at the end of that,
Derek Heitman gets to light them up at the Monster Mile. He tames the Monster here today. And the Monster got woken up by only one man, and Miles was now hungry. That was from Drew Jua. So we'll get your top 3 on into the waiting room. It's also a 1-2-3 finish for the United Weight Racing team. So as Heitman finishes up his burnout, let's talk with our 3rd place finisher. That is Mark Jackson, scoring his best finish of the year so far. Mark, a great run for you. Walk us through it today.
Man, thank you so much, buddy. I just so happy. Give all the glory to God. Got to thank my teammates here in United, Matt and Riley. I'm just, man, what a race. I mean, there was some tight racing there. We went green at Dover. Are you freaking kidding me? I'm just fucking stoked. Oh, sorry. I said that.
You're good. You're good.
I love it, man. It's just freaking awesome.
Well, that's awesome, man. What's the mindset like when you've got a green flag run to begin the race for over 150 laps?
Man, I just I'm overwhelmed. I just blows me away at Dover. I mean, this track is notorious for having cautions and stuff, and to make it through that and get out of here with a 3rd place, that's a win for me and this team.
Alrighty, well, we'll let you go, man. Congrats on a great run. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, buddy.
Mark Jackson finishing in 3rd spot. Let's go to our 2nd place finisher in Jeff Crosby Jr. Jeff, you had a great car and a great run today. However, though, talk about that restart and how much better of a long run car Heitman had compared to you.
Yeah, I tried to stay with him as much as I could. I think I still had damage that I never used a quick repair, so he was just able to get out there, and I'm assuming he had a better car. So all in all, that's really cool that me and him finished 1 and 2 again, back-to-back weeks. Congratulations to him.
How about a 1-2-3 finish overall for the United Racing team? That's got to feel good.
Oh, I'm not with that team. I'm with Senior Junior Motorsports. But,
Oh yeah, that's right. My bad.
No, you're good.
I saw you in the United Racing chat for a little bit, so I don't know. But what's the mindset like on a green flag run for 150 laps?
You just gotta stay focused. Gotta stay patient. Just try to keep calm. If one little mistake is gonna ruin your race. I feel bad for Drew because it looked like he was gonna have it locked up, and he had that little speeding penalty, which showed. So, yeah, just gotta stay patient through all that.
Who do you want to give shout-outs to on your run?
Hey, friends that are watching, appreciate you guys tuning in. Definitely want to give a shout out to you for doing this, and shout out to my dad here in Senior Junior Motorsports, and hopefully we can go get it at iRacing Super Speedway next week.
All right, we'll let you go. Great job.
Thanks, man.
Jeff Crosby Jr., our 2nd place finisher. Time to go to victory lane and talk with our race winner. Back-to-back wins for Derek Heitman. Congratulations, man. How is this feeling? And are you kind of surprised to be in victory lane considering how dominant Drew was?
I'm a little surprised to be here, but I mean, I've raced with Drew a lot. I'm not surprised that he made a mistake and something happened. So I should I be here? No, but back to back, can't complain.
Absolutely. Talk us through that restart and how you were able to outrace Jeff there at the end.
Oh, so I was talking to Jeff a little bit after the race. I guess he had some damage and never used his fast repair. So that kind of, gave me an advantage. I drove the wheels off it until I realized I was about a second and a half on him, and started catching lap cars. I started throwing some brake into the corners, try to save tires in case I needed them for the end. Um, but all in all, it was a pretty dominant car from the drop of the green flag. I made one mistake at the beginning and just found a way to recover, kind of like Atlanta, and here we are.
Well, next week we go to iRacing Super Speedway. We don't know what to expect. What are you expecting?
I expect it to be anyone's race, honestly. I, it's gonna be a crapshoot, honestly. It'll probably be just like that Dagger race today, you know. So we'll just see what happens, and if we happen to squeak one out there too, then so be it.
Who do you want to give shout outs to on your run?
Oh, I definitely want to give shout outs to pretty much everybody that was a lap car that tried to make it easy for me, going around them. So that was nice. I, of course, want to give a shout out to Junior again for being a great competitor, and holding me true, for the race win. Um, I mean, as far as that goes, I mean, Matt was giving me some pointers on just some like sim lab stuff he uses as overlays, so I'm definitely gonna have to check those out as well.
All right, we'll let you go. Congratulations on the win.
Thanks, Marty. Appreciate it.
Derek Heitman, second win of the season. Back-to-back wins for him. Let's pop up your official results. Heitman, Crosby Jr., and Jackson, the only cars on the lead lap. Fries and Branch in their debuts, 4th and 5th. Hernandez, a nice recovery to 6th. Duncan on different strategy in 7th. Stenzel, Douglas, and Lambert, the top 10. You see as well Drew Jua in 16th. That's a heartbreaking moment for him. And does not finish the race. He'll have to try again next week at iRacing Super Speedway with the truck. Pardon me, next week at 8 p.m. You don't want to miss out on that. So that'll do it for us here. I'm Marty Sakala. This broadcast has been a presentation of the Slide Job Racing Network and Hoosier Racing League. Derek Heitman, your race winner tonight at Dover Motor Speedway. So long for the Monster Mile, everyone.